Soul Shatter. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the highest remaining cost. This is just a terminate. Obviously, you play it. You're not gonna never not play this card if you're black. But you might even splash for this card. But it's like it's not good. It's just whatever. I think it's worse than the common. I think it's worse than Deadly Alliance. But again, there's a lot of room for cards to be worse than Deadly Alliance and playable. Skyclave Shade. 2-mana 3/1 can't block. If it was kicked, enters the battlefield with 2 counters on it. Landfall. You may cast it. This card has existed in the past in many forms. This is like one of the best versions of this card. This card is probably quite good, especially since your opponent can mill it into your graveyard. Its only downside is that it's not a rogue. It's not a party member. But the fact that it can be 5 power. You can even just like chump attack with it on turn 4. And then like play a land and make it a 5/3. Yeah, you would probably always play this. I think there are definitely scenarios you don't play this. Like if you're like blue-black and you're against like a white-red deck, yeah, you would definitely board this out. But I think you would almost always start it. Tabarak, Sips Demise, flying. It has lifelink as long as you have 5 more counters on it. Whenever another non-token control dies, put a counter on. Okay, yeah, just random like card you would always play. If it had like several less lines of text, you would still play it. So, yeah. Not much to say. If you're black, you play it. You wouldn't splash for this, I don't think. Unless you're maybe a white-blue deck, you might splash black for this. Because, again, for splash cards, you need them to be good on turn 6. And this is a card that you can probably play on turn 6. And if you're a cleric deck, if you have clerics in your deck and they die, it's probably, he'll be like a 4/4, right? 4/4 draw 2 or something for on turn 6. So it's like, yeah. Shadow's Verdicts. Exile all... Yeah, okay, you would just... Exile all creatures and planeswalkers are going to cost 3 or less from the battlefield and graveyards. Yeah, you would probably never play this. Wrath effects in general, I think, are not great and limited, and this is a pretty awesome sideboard card. It's a coin flip. I think you lean towards not playing it. If you think it's close, you shouldn't play it. Null Priest of Oblivion, 2 mana, 2/1 Menace lifelink. Full stop. If it was just 2 mana, 2/1 Menace lifelink, you would always play this card. When Null Priest of Oblivion enters the battlefield, if he was scared, return target creature card. Okay, yeah, you would just always play this card. Not much to say. It returns them not to your hand, to the freaking battlefield. You think that's the best black rare? I think it's this one, right? Vampire Nighthawk was an uncommon in the original Zendikar that this is calling back to. Was like the best card in the format. But that was more of it because like the removal spells were Disfigure, which was -2/2 for 1 mana, and Burst Lightning, which was 1 mana, 2 damage. So this was like a card that was not really killable in the format. Yeah, and Hideous Sin was destroy target non-black. Yeah. There's a lot more removal that can kill this. However, I think a vast majority of the time, this is going to be a 3/3 Death Touch flying. I mean, this is the thing that you always play it if you have it. If you don't have it, then you're just not going to play it. So it's also a rogue randomly. Could have totally just not been a relevant creature type and would still have been like unplayable. Card's great. Always play it. Description of Ruin. Yeah, I mean, this is a card you're always going to play, right? It's Mind Rot plus. Destroy target creature with career mana cost 3 or less. Yeah, this is a card you would always play, so not much to say about it. You don't splash it, probably. Because this is none of these 3 effects are good on turn 6 as a 1-of. And you're not gonna have triple black and a splash. But if you're base black, you just play it, always. Coveted Prize. Search for life for any card. Put in your hand. That's the text box. It costs 1 less for each person in your party. So it can be like a 3 mana Demonic Tutor probably on turn 6. It's gonna be what it is. It's gonna be 3 mana search for a Terminate, right? On turn 6, you're gonna pay 3 mana, find a Terminate, play it. Or you're probably always gonna play this card. The rest of the text doesn't matter. You're not gonna have a whole party. But I think you're probably almost always gonna play this card. There are certainly times where you're not. If you're blue-black, you probably don't play this card. This effect is worse than drawing. This effect is worse than Divination. Or any of the myriad draw 3s. Like, it's worse than the draw 3, it's worse than just like the 2 and a blue Divination. But the black does have good targets for this. Even if you have an A+ bomb, it often just trades with your opponent's removal spell. Like, like Nighthawk Scavenger, for instance. Like, this is not a good card to find, a coveted prize, because, like, you pay 6 mana for this, and it's like, a 6 mana flying Death Touch Lifelink is not even good. So, like, it's fine, you play it, but your opponent just like, okay, just kill it. Kill it for, like, kill it before between 2 and 4 mana, and then Aggro Mauling, destroy target creature, yep, always play it. Nothing really to say about this. Just another Terminate. You know, I was thinking about how in blue, I was like, please give me an output that isn't draw a card. Right? And now that I've seen black, I'm like looking at the black cards, I'm like, can you just give me an effect that's not just destroy your creature? This is a card you would not get a land for. So you would play 17 mana sources other than this. Because you're always going to cast this as a spell. And then there's dual ends. You would always play these. Nothing really to say about these. We have black commons, which are meager. Like, meager does, like... Black doesn't, like, can't do things other than kill creatures. Like, they have Dreadworm, they have, like, decent top end, and they have great Terminates, but they need cards that cost 3 or less that do anything. And they don't really have them. So... I think black is almost always, not even at higher rarities, they just don't have anything. They don't have anything that costs 3 or less that you actually want to play on turn 3. You need a color that has good cards that cost 3 or less, which we haven't really found yet. Because white certainly doesn't. Blue does. Blue has great cards that cost, like, Skyclay Squid is a great blue-black card. You know, all these draw card effects. Like, this is like this is actually a fine card to play on turn 2 if you had to. Because you can get it back later with, like, their double raised dead in black. Risen Riptides are going to be a great blue-black card. The Stalker's going to be a great blue-black card. This is going to be, like, a fine 3-drop. So, I mean, you're just going to play it on turn 5, right? It's going to be like a 4/4 on turn 5 or something. Prana, yeah. 5-mana 4/4 flying. Whatever. Always play it. Agadeem's Awakening. This is the split card. Always play it. It's, well, I mean, I guess not always play. Yeah, you always play it. Because it's just a land slot. I mean, it reminds me of the 5-mana Returner 3/2 and 1-drop. Was it in Ravnica that had that card? And if you just return a 3 and 2 and you're fine. Yeah, Gruesome Encore or something, right? Or Gruesome Miss and Menace. Yeah, whatever it was. So if you pay 6 mana for this and get back a 3 and a 2, you're probably fine. So, yeah, Gruesome Menagerie. Oh, I think you would just always play this card.